Well, I've been on a real ride. It's been
Yeah,
it's
man.
been a heck of a week. I've been I guess the in a affectionate way of putting it, if it's not too glib, but a bit of a Rona refugee. Um,
Okay.
some folks in the home uh,
Oh, fuck.
brought back the plague, and I've been kind of so the my partner and I we somehow dodged it, but we've
Okay.
been like isolating like we have it, and then like you know work has no chill, so it's just like we need a positive test or you're coming in. So every time I test negative, it's just like I guess I'm going into work today.
Right.
So now we've just been crashing on friends' couches like after our few negative tests, but we were like hunkering down in this like
Oh, man. I'm so
plague
sorry, dude.
house situation where like everyone's getting it but us, and we're just like, it's only a matter of time. It's only a matter of time. So we had a negative test, and now I'm crashing with my fiddle player. So that's cool. But it's been wild. It's been like this whole ride of just like, do we have it? Do I got to cancel all these shows? What's happening? What's gonna happen? Whoa! Tell you what, I'm about to read the calendar real quick. So stand by,
Yeah.
and we'll be live on the air here. So, Talking Heads, Life During Wartime. Had a few live tracks from Stevie Ray Vaughan and Jimi Hendrix. So you can't have a guitar party with those cats, but you can't have a set of live music without it's not making sense. You just can't. I don't make the rules. You just can't. You just can't do it. So let's talk about shows happening this week and beyond. I got Michael on vid chat right now. You can hang out with us off mic, but we're gonna be chatting in like 2 seconds. So let's talk about what's going on tonight. Tonight, Mike Munson and the Orange Goodness are playing with me at Palmer's. We're celebrating 200 episodes. Today is 201. I feel like 201 is a good number for you. It's like I feel it's like Rock 201. We're into we're like we're into the higher level classes. So this is happening tonight at Palmer's. We're doing a residency every night this week after the show on Wednesdays. So come hang out on the West Bank. It's all former guests who've been on this show, so it's just kind of a big old party. Thursday, Monica LaPlante, Annie and the Bang Bang, and Dee Lakes at Mears Park. That's tomorrow. Friday, Mary Bew, Megan and the Birdwatcher, and Superior Siren, all the way from Duluth. They're coming in. A great band, if you haven't seen them. Jeremy Messersmith and Dury at the Hook and Ladder. That's also on Friday. Black Widows will be at Psycho Susie's. That's a perfect place for them if you've never seen them. Saturday, these are the bands that have release shows. So we're going to play some Orange Goodness and some Mike Munson, but we're also going to play some of these bands because they have releases coming up. So Uranium Club, they have a release show with Condominium and Pig in the City. And this is at Hell Above. This is an Ask a Punk situation. I don't want to, I'm aware I have a microphone, and as someone who has run DIY venues, I am not going to disclose the address, but go to the event page and you can find it. If you are unfamiliar with Uranium Club, highly recommend this band. And one of like the Twin Cities' most enigmatic bands. I feel like they have a cult following everywhere, and depending on who you ask, like people are like, who, or people are like, oh my god, Uranium Club. So definitely check that out. That's on Saturday. Venus to Mars release show with Big Salt at the Hook and Ladder. Venus to Mars has been a staple of this scene, and she's releasing a new record. So check that out. Orchid Eaton, friend of the show. They've been on the show. They're finally releasing their new record. Finally able to do it in person. They had the Eau Claire release, and now they have one at Ice House this Saturday with Yellow Ostrich and Kansas Plates. One more release show, City Mouse. This is they're from Florida. Couch Potato Massacre. That's the release show, and Rad Owl at the Terminal Bar. Sunday, Island of Discarded Women at the Women's Club. This is going to feature Sue Scott, Georgia Fort, and Greta Oglesby, as well as 5 other podcasters and creatives. It's going to be a whole night, and that is at Women's Club Minneapolis, not the one in St. Paul, the one in Minneapolis. And then looking ahead, I'm opening for Bob Log III at Turf Club this Sunday. If you haven't seen Bob Vlog, just YouTube him. He's wild. But yeah, that's my next show. And of course, we're doing the residency, which I've been talking about too much. So you know the drill. Every Wednesday, we're taking over Palmer's. But looking ahead, there's a concert for Ukraine featuring Lev and Olga, Bran Casey, and Yev. This is at number 12, Cider. And this is June 18th. So think I missed something, or you just want to hear me mispronounce your band name on the air, email it to desertislandskfai@gmail.com. I curate the whole section from what you send me. I love it when you send me stuff on social media, because it's like, oh, people do listen to this show. But I swear I'm not ignoring you. It's just sometimes I don't catch the timing. So if you invite me to stuff and I'm not plugging it, it's not because I have a personal grudge against you. Just email it to me. I will guarantee, I at least check that email once or twice a week, and definitely before the show. So please keep sending me stuff. I curate the whole segment from what you send me. So, Mike, how you doing? It's really good to see you.
Nice to see you, Doc, and congratulations on 201.
Thank you. Thank you for being on 201.
I remember meeting you as a young pup. Many moons ago.
I know.
You were the Augsburg radio dude, right?
Yeah. And we had you in the studio a few times. I remember listening. I actually found a flash drive with some of those old episodes.
Ooh,
and
I love flash drives.
Man, I was, yeah.
And congratulations on all your gigs too, and all your performances.
Thank you.
Likewise.
You've been doing some serious stuff. That Liquid Zoo thing looked cool. How'd that go?
That was great. And the Schwant family who operate Bauhaus Brew Labs are obviously artist friendly, and Mike and Mark are great musicians. So they really foster. They started White Light Riot many moons ago.
That makes a lot of sense. I remember White Light Riot. I had no idea they were the cats behind Bauhaus. Man, this is a small town.
It's a small, vast town where I think you and I as musicians can meet somebody who, let's say, it's been on the scene 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, and it might be brand new. So there is a internal wealth and well of talent. I'm not just saying that. If you tour other parts of the Midwest, you would know this. But it's a small, vast town is what I call it.
It has a weird magnetism too, and not throwing shade on other towns in the Midwest, because I play those towns. but also you are right. There is like a weird gravity that even bands I've played with, like down in Winona, like a great band, Sleeping Jesus, I used to like look forward to going down to Winona so I could like see those guys. They're all moving to Minneapolis. They're all Minneapolis cats now. So it's like even them, it just kind of pulls people in, people out, and sometimes people go to the West Coast and they just end up back here.
I just kind of let go a couple of years ago, where it's like, because as an artist, you want to kind of know what's going on all the time and keep tabs on new talent and talent that's been around, and just keep you want to keep fresh, you want to keep inspired, and if you still have that ember to do what we do, and I just let go. I was like, man, I'll never know everybody, I'll never know everything. I'm just going to be a little 5-year-old and just like be like, oh wow. So I'm an open being at this point.
I've been trying to sit back and observe more often than not, because like even the Netflix selection is intimidating. I'm just like, wow, I didn't realize this many movies existed. And then when you apply the same to bands, you're like, whoa, wow. So now it's more just stepping back and going, wow, this is kind of amazing.
A lot of choices.
A lot of choices. Speaking of that, so I normally spin Love Life Lies, but I want to do Settle Up, Settle Down today.
Sweet.
Off of Flying Under the Radar.
And thank you for doing that.
Absolutely. So in this set, we got some Orchid Eaton, Uranium Club, but also Mike Munson, who's playing with us tonight at Palmer's. So yeah, doors are at 7, music is at 8, and please just come. I'm not going to tell you the set times. Although the Orange Goodness is first, they are at 8. But I'm not gonna tell you that. I'm trying to not, because I'm getting that text message thing of like, hey, when you guys playing? I'm just like, 5:30.
Yeah, everybody's gonna bring it too, man.
Yeah, the lineups are insane, and
Yeah.
I'm really glad y'all are playing tonight, because you and Mike are some of my favorite guitar players to watch.
Right
So
back
like
at you. Thank you.
I get to just geek out and just kind of which is like my favorite. I think that's a thing with performers. Like, we're all kind of secret introverts, where it's like on stage, it's like, hey, hey, and then, but after that, we're just kind of like, I just want to have my my peanuts and my beverage.
The spirit
Kind of
zone
fun
of
stuff.
ingesting and just being in the moment. Not to sound
Mhm.
cliche, but I want to
It,
be in
well,
the moment.
it's cliche for a reason, because if you try it, it's really hard to do.
It's so hard to do. Well, man, another thing I was thinking about is that our particular occupation that we're drawn
Mhm.
to and called us is
Yeah.
living in the future. So it's
Ooh.
like you and I are booking gigs for the fall. So it's like,
Yeah.
and then you
Yeah.
have to plan for everything, which I'm not boo-hooing that, by the way. It's a
No.
privilege to
Yeah.
play. But it's a lot of next year, end of the
Yeah.
year. And
Yeah.
so how do you enjoy your summer? And part of that experience is just grabbing a drink of your choice and just
Yeah.
listening.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
I'm really trying to I don't know. Like, it's just like I get inspired by those food travel shows, and like the
always.
last
Absolutely.
summer. Oh yeah, because that's my favorite way to, like, I've gotten to the point where like I only go places where I know, so I can like hang out with someone where it's just like, yeah, but where's your favorite sandwich shop?
Right.
Like, where's the place you go every day? Not
Right.
the place you want to impress me with. The place you go every day. Take
Yeah.
me there.
Take me. Yep.
But also I played so much just because, like, I was playing like it was out of style last year because I thought it was. Like
Yeah.
like we didn't know if it was going to be like, all right, we have outdoor music season, and then we're wrapping it up.
Absolutely, man.
We're wrapping it up. And this year, I'm taking a step back. Well, one, because I got to finish this EP, but also I would much rather, like, I have 4 gigs in July. Normally, my brain is like, let's fill that up a little bit. Now I'm just like, four's plenty.
For You're
Four's
right.
plenty.
Pace in this region, I agree.
Yeah,
I
and
do want to selfishly talk about your Viper Room gig, but I don't know if you
well,
want to go
let's
into that.
well, let's do that here. Let's do that. That'll be a video chat
Okay.
thing, just because yeah. So let's listen to y'all, and then
Okay.
if you're interested in my nonsense and adventures, follow us on YouTube, follow us on Facebook. If you're one of the folks that likes to play along at home and like sync the two, like you're watching the Super Bowl with like the hometown announcers, please don't do this while you're driving. The video gets archived. It will be there waiting for you later. But let's get some orange goodness here on KFAI. All right, can you still hear me?
Mhm.
Perfect. Every time I press a button, I gotta make sure I didn't actually mute something or.
Dude,
uh,
I totally get it, man.
but yeah, the Viper Room was, like I'm a transplant. Like, you're from the Natty, and
Yeah.
I'm from mainline Philly,
Yeah.
and I don't know what it was about that, or growing up in that atmosphere. I think like part of the reason, yeah, like I think the main reason artists have careers is because they just show up. They just keep showing up, and
Yeah.
there's that attitude. I basically took the, like, what do you think, you're better than me? You're not better than me. Like, and just took that into like a career, because
Mhm.
sometimes this business is a drag, and like it's easy to get discouraged, but like it's like I've been just trying to take the productive use of anger of just like, did that promoter just slight me? And it's just like, all right, it just
Yeah.
go back to this the Steve Martin thing. Just
Yeah.
like, be so good they can't ignore you. That's your revenge. Just get
It's the
good.
only thing we have is the
Just
raw
get
talent,
good.
man.
Yeah, and just do something you like too. That's another thing. Like, it's like I I started the solo thing because at one point I was in like 5 bands at once, and we all had that mindset of like, we got to make it. These have to make it.
Yeah.
And like this kind of became like the thing where it's just like, I don't care about making it. I care about making it, like the content.
Yeah.
And it became like a vehicle for all the weird ideas none of the other bands wanted to do, where it's just like, what if we recorded in a hotel room? It's like, what if that sounds really annoying. It's just like, what if we recorded outside? What if we
did your 4-track stuff?
Yeah, just like also, you know, the lo-fi thing is more of like choice, but also availability. You know, because I kind of like tracking everything live, and it's just like you kind of just get what you get on the medium.
Yeah.
Some people don't dig that, but yeah, Viper Room was one of those things. As a Philly kid, and as someone who kind of has, you know, like a that, like when you get the chip on your shoulder, it's more of like, I turn into the theater kid of just like, no, use this for your art. I fully expected to go to LA and be like, screw this town. This town's probably not even like, it's probably, I'm not even going to fit in. I'm not even like going to, only to find, I think I fit in a little too well. And it's like the whole city it's like a very seductive thing. It's like Jack Nicholson in like As Good as It Gets. Like, it's like,
I think LA's not cheesy anymore. I think it's the right time.
LA.
It's not a cheese ball factory anymore. It's like everybody from the Midwest has moved out there in the last 7 years.
Yeah.
And has made it cool.
It's like, well, it's also like a law of averages thing. Like, it's like you plop 10 million people in every area, you're gonna get a little bit of everything.
Yeah.
And but that was kind of familiar for me. Like, the city's so big, you're basically anonymous. Or it's just like, well, like someone described, it's like New York is like fun hell, but like LA is like dumb heaven.
Yeah.
Like,
I like that.
Like, because I do love both of these cities, but it's just like they are the yin yang of American experience, you know, of just like what America can be, what America is, what it represents. It's just like, we have all this amazing stuff, and we also have all this awful, like mind-numbingly terrible stuff in like the same place. And it's like, it's madness. But like, so like we like, you know, and Renell is sober, so like we kind of did like I kind of got a little bit of the Anthony Bourdain tour of LA. Like, we didn't do any of the weirdo parties or the cheesy stuff. Like, we went hiking through the mountains.
Cool.
And like we went, and I was just like, oh, okay, I get this.
What neighborhood was the base of operations, or where did everybody kind of hub and hunker down?
Kind of near Studio City, like
cool. Yeah.
Kind of like not in it. Like, it was like, I mean, like closer to Burbank, you know.
Yeah. Some of the Valley area. That's cool.
Yeah, because like, I like the Valley a lot. Like, and people are like, Burbank. I'm just like, what's wrong with Burbank? Is nice.
It is, man.
It's nice.
It's where the Wonder Years were filmed, man.
Yeah. I dug it. And we only like ate food off of like taco trucks, and like, it's just like, this is the way to do it. But so the Viper Room was funny because like have you ever played it?
Long time ago with Love Cars in like 2000.
Yeah. So were they still doing that like conveyor belt thing where you gotta just put your gear on the street 30 minutes before you play, and then you get on there? Yeah, that's what they're doing now.
Whoa.
Because all these venues are historical landmarks at this point. So they just book an early show and then a night show, and then they book a late show in the basement. So it's just like, you had this like matinee 5 p.m. show with like 4 bands, and then the night show's got 4 bands. So it's
crazy.
Just like, it's so like, because people are going to like the whiskey and these things, like some people are treating it like a wax museum. They're like, oh, we gotta go we gotta grab a drink at the Viper Room.
Got it.
And it's
Okay.
like, who's playing? Like, who cares? Someone's playing.
We're at, yeah.
And, like,
Okay. Got it.
So and I think part of the reason they're doing that is because it is closing. So they're trying to wring all that out, you know.
Yeah.
It was wild. Like, we're like kind of sitting there with our gear, like we're like waiting for the bus for summer camp. Where it's like, we're going to band camp.
Yeah.
And we're just sitting there on the Sunset Strip, like with all our gear, like looking like, you know. And then like our friend Austin, who he's like in YYY, he shows up on the street, and it's like a movie, and it's just like, I was like, oh, dude, you're coming to the show, and he's just like, oh, sick, you guys are playing tonight?
Oh, man.
It's like, so he was already there doing his own thing. And It's just like, and so like, he's there, we're waiting to set up, and then one of those like tours of the stars rolls by the red light. We can like hear on the megaphone, like, and over here, this is the historic Viper Room. This is where River Phoenix unfortunately passed away. And then like everyone turns like, and like we're the band. It's like, you can see there's a band loading in. These are like, there are nightly shows at the Viper Room.
Oh my gosh.
And then like people are turning around, and like this like British tourist guy starts yelling at us like, "Oi, who died?" We're like, "What?" We're like, "Who died there, mate? Who's like, why is it famous?" Like, we're on the payroll, just like yelling at us.
And then the death trials going on at the same time, man, or started when you were playing. Yeah. So
it's just like, this is going on, and then like Austin, like using his like trollish sense of humor, like just flex the whole thing. He's like, who died? And he's like, Harvey Weinstein. And then, like, and then like people realized like we weren't gonna give him a straight answer. And then the red light turned, and then like Austin turned to us and just went like, that stoplight was a lot. And then after that, we were like immediately ushered into the place, and you got to set up your stuff with the curtain and the whole thing. And like, that was kind of cool. They mispronounced our name, which is hilarious, because like you can go to our page and we have like a pronunciation guide. Just like, so I was like, it's just, so I once we were 4 songs in and I knew the crowd was into us, the Philly in me kind of took over. Like, I was just like a little Jimmy Butler, just like, Tobias Harris over me? Like, we come all the way from Minneapolis and you mispronounce our name. It's LPF, by the way. You know, like that kind of thing. But it got laughs. Like, I kind of, like, I was like, all right, I can be the heel a little bit, because people are into this. But like, it is. It's like it's like pro wrestling out there, man. Like, everyone's got the uniform, everyone's got the costume, everyone's got the thing. And like, I thought I would be like, man, I'm not about this, but like I kind of was, because there's a beauty to it, like where people are just there. There's just like a lot of people going there to like be their self, like just finally be themselves.
I'm at a point, man, where if you're not doing harm to the world, then I'm just not going to say anything, you know?
Yeah. It's like, it's just, I think that's the way to do it. But like, so I had a bunch of fun hiking and like doing the food truck thing, and like, you know, seeing the ocean, and like,
well, also invigorating your artistic self, like you said, to go, oh, okay, I'm going to continue this.
Yes. Well, it was also a thing where like I was kind of intimidated too. Like, I was just like, nah, like I gotta be on my game. And then I was looking around going like, I'm doing fine. You know, so like at the end of it, I think my favorite aspect of the trip was like, I was like falling in love with this city I swore I would hate.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, I've fallen. But we were hiking up to like Wisdom Tree, and then you can kind of see Studio City, and then like Renell was like pointing out all the studio stuff, and then you can, if you look closer, they have whole skyscrapers that are just fake, and whole little neighborhoods that are not real, and like it's just like, oh, this is for the film stuff. And it was like that scene in Man on the Moon where Andy Kaufman is like on the table and he realizes the miracle cure is just a bit, and he starts laughing, because I was just like, oh, well, no wonder I'm falling in love. It's because it's all an illusion.
Right.
But it's a good illusion.
Right.
It's like, I got to admit, I was just like, Oh, all right, yeah. From one professional to another,
Yeah,
you got me. You got me. That's
and
you got me.
120-year-old profession there. It's like that's
Yeah,
120-year-old illusion.
and they take pride in it, and I kind of get it. Like it's like it's their culture. It's not like
Yeah,
it's like yeah, now it's an industry and it's like a big shadowy
yeah,
behemoth, but like it is, like it or not, a huge aspect of
yeah.
American
And
culture.
some neighbor of yours is involved in that. You know what I mean?
Yes. Yeah. There's a lot of that's another reason I think like it's like I think people are like, ugh, LA. But it's
Yeah,
just like, no, like this is why I was like trying to do outdoor performances and try to go out of my way to play venues with vax policies. It's not because, well, like one, I want my show to go on, but it's
yeah,
also like when I'm not playing, I'm either teaching kids how to play their own show or
yeah,
I'm helping someone else. Like this is real jobs, and there are cats who have been in this game for 30 years
yeah,
who suddenly didn't have work, and it's not a pipe dream. It's just like, dude, if you spent 30 years of your life doing something and all of a sudden someone's just like jumping up and do something else, like
yeah,
there's going to be cognitive dissonance there. Like
yeah.
like
Absolutely.
this feeds families. It's not just some,
Right.
like but there is a weird soft power in it.
Mhm.
It's like Washington DC in a weird way. Like they know there's some soft power in what they do,
Mhm.
and like there is a bit of like a feeling of just like the ultra wealthy know exactly who they are,
Mhm.
and there's also some like gross, obscene displays of useless wealth out there too.
Right.
Um, but the landscape is beautiful. The food is beautiful. The people are beautiful. Like
Nice people. Nice people.
they're great. I think the difference between the coasts is like on the East Coast, like New York, you get a lot of attitude of just like, yeah, this is it. Take a look around. Welcome to the real world. This is
Yeah.
what we got.
Yeah.
Deal with it. But out there, it's more of, is this it? What could it be? What could we make it?
Mhm.
So even though it's a little woo-woo and wishy-washy, I kind of respect that mindset of just like, is this what it is? Or
Yeah.
can we change it? Can we
Yeah.
make it whatever we want? And yeah, you can go off the deep end in that, but it's an inspiring attitude to like the alchemy of yourself.
Right.
It's like just take any situation and make the most of it and try
Right.
to do your best. I kind of dig that. Even if there is a lot of aspects of it that I think are like not for me, and
Mhm.
maybe I'm not on the same page, like it's something else. And it's like it or not, it is like a cornerstone of like what America is.
Yeah. And let's face it, that whole coastline, people are open to music, man.
Yeah.
They're
All
open to
kinds of music.
anything.
All
Anything.
kinds of
Yeah,
music. And
man.
I love that. Because like that, like sometimes like I feel like it's sacrilege. Like sometimes music scenes are like TV dinners, not in quality. Hear me
Mhm.
out. Like how all the dishes are separated.
Yeah.
And if you get a little peas in like the other dish, people are like, I don't know. It's like
Right.
where
Right.
it's just like I always found that weird, where it's just like, let's leave the country over there, and let's leave the. It's just like I'm more of like a why not have the old country buffet
Right.
style. Like I love mixing bills. I love like my favorite thing to do is like play something where it's like you wouldn't know why these artists are on the same bill until you go and see it's like these artists are three different genres. It's like, yeah, but they're all dedicating something to a specific thing, and they
Yeah.
all came up with three different answers
It's
that are all
yeah,
valid.
man. It's the Fillmore in San Francisco, man, back in the day.
Yes,
Bill
yeah,
Graham, yeah.
yeah. And but I also get why people do that, because it's easier to sell, and there's so much content that if someone wants to just like it's almost like a menu item where it's just like, look, dude, just give me Taco Bell. Where do I find a Taco Bell? It's like,
Yeah.
okay, there's this night over here, emo night is over here, country night is over here.
Yeah.
Like I get there's a place for that, but I don't think it's dogma, and I don't think it should be treated as such.
Yeah.
I think people should like what they like, and like and you teach too, like
Mhm.
that like the younger kids, they don't care.
Right.
Like they grew up with the internet, so technically Steely Dan is just as current as like Doja Cat and
It's
Lil Nas
nuts,
X, and
right?
they
I'm
listen to
sure
both. They
you are.
listen to both unironically. I love it.
It's so bizarre. Yeah. I mean, in a good way.
Mhm.
But no, I know you're teaching too, and it's like there is no timeline.
No, no, and I prefer it that way because I think music's gonna get better
Yeah.
because we have people who are unafraid to like actually. Well, I don't know. Like it's like I remember even
It's
in high school, it was that it was like, oh, you like emo. Like there's like it's like
yeah.
that's kind of going away, and people are like,
It's
it's
whatever pops up in your algorithm to the right.
yeah,
You know,
yeah. If
they
you
just
like
go
it, you
for
like
it.
it, and if you don't, swipe left, on
Yeah.
to the next thing. And it's some people find that callous, but there's also like kind of like a, you know, like the Rebecca Black thing. I was talking about this last week, where it's like that poor girl was the first video to get 1 million dislikes. But if you read the comments, who are the people disliking it? Like angry white dudes. Where
Right.
I'm just like,
Right.
bro, she's a 16-year-old girl from Orange County. Maybe this song isn't for you.
Right.
Maybe it's like maybe it wasn't made for you. Like, why are you
Right.
getting so angry over this? Move on. Go
Yeah.
back to the stuff that like you dig. Like it's just like it's like where does I don't know, or consider jogging with friends. I like get the pent up aggression. It's like there's like whew. um yeah, I don't know, but like it'll be fun to see where it goes. Like we were kind of talking about earlier, just like maybe just sit back and observe this one because you can't ride the dragon. Like
No.
you can't. Like sometimes you're an artist that rides the wave and you're just like on top of a zeitgeist where it's just like, oh, you know, like surf death metal is all the rage, and it's just
Yeah.
like that one band is just like we got it, and it's like. But then sometimes it's like Nick Drake, where you're like forgotten until you're dead, and then you're like monumental and
Right. Right.
like a foundational bedrock.
Mm-hmm.
So like, yeah, I don't know. It just let go. At this point, I'm just like, I'm just
I
glad.
have no idea. I'm just
Yeah,
I'm totally finished with understanding and just kind of observing, like you said.
yeah. Just watch and
Yeah.
just do whatever draws you in, I guess.
Yeah.
Oh, we got carts being added. I'll let Mason handle that. But after this tune, we'll be back on the air.
Okay. Cool.
We'll plug the show a little bit, but also just kind of, talk about your summer plans too.
Okay.
Because you got this EP, and let's talk about that.
Okay. Cool.
And here we go. Stand by. Mike Munson live at Ed's, and I know it's not called Ed's No Name Bar. It's just No Name Bar, but it's like it's too hard for me not to. Even when I'm down there, like, oh, you going to Ed's? People know what I'm talking about. But I know it's No Name Bar, but that was recorded when it was still called Ed's. Uranium Club, Orchid Eaton, and the Orange Goodness at the top of that set. Speaking of the Orange Goodness, I am making a mixtape for the Orange Goodness because we are playing together at Palmer's with Mike Munson. So this is tonight, and we're doing every Wednesday. But you've been doing some like pretty cool gigs as well, and you have some cool things coming up on the schedule too.
Yeah.
But I also don't want to like give too much of the game away. But what are you looking forward to coming up this summer?
We were fortunate enough to just play the Liquid Zoo for Art World, which is hosted by the Bauhaus Brew Lab folks, the Schwant family, and they're amazing. And they make you feel like rock stars real quick. And that's not a bad thing.
No.
Once in a while, right? It's like, oh, thank you.
Yeah.
No, it's awesome. And then tonight I'm looking forward to, because I've only been on the patio and inside Palmer's. I've never played this historical landmark. So thank you for the opportunity, and congrats on your 201 today.
Yeah, thank you for doing it.
And I like that analogy. Yes, you are in the new class zone of the the upper echelon with 201.
201, it's a new level.
We have I try to make it as diverse as possible. Like you You just
Yeah.
try your best with
Yeah.
booking during COVID, and the fact that there are many, many artists trying to do the same thing. And
Yeah.
there's still, like you said, there's that 20% due to our pandemic experience that it's still on the line. You don't know if your gig
Yeah.
in August will be canceled or whatever.
Yes. And I just try my best so everyone feels comfortable because like
Yes,
people
yes,
should just feel comfy to see a show.
yeah.
That,
Um,
that that's
but like what you did tonight, I think it's also a good fire to make everything an event where it's
yeah,
like you got to bring your A game. There's no clocking it in. There's no, oh, I had a bad day. It's like, no, it's like there's too many choices for people and there's too many choices to stay home. So it's like making, a great bill, making a great event, hyping it up, but then delivering is really important. And
mhm.
diversification, like house concerts are really important to
Yeah,
the Orange
yeah,
Goodness now. That's a great way to meet new people and really gain lifelong fans and really have an intimate experience. So clubs, house concerts, and festivals, it's just like juggling those three during the summer up until September is the goal. So
yeah, yeah.
yeah.
The three horsemen, so to speak.
Yes. Yeah.
Do you have anything coming up as far as because I know house shows are hard to discuss publicly because
Yes.
it is a private residence. But do you have anything you're at liberty
Yeah.
to discuss in the future coming up?
Absolutely. So coming up, we're doing a Red Stag Supper Club
Oh,
residency where we
cool.
play instrumentally.
Oh, nice.
So we're basically, heroes of ours are the Roots, and the
Yeah,
Roots have their own thing, but they're
yeah,
also a great backup band.
yeah.
And
The best,
so
one of the
we,
best in business.
yeah, man, and we kind of have the nostalgia of the Stax Records deal, and
Oh, yeah,
and
yeah,
we're session dudes too. So um, the Orange Goodness is the focus because that's where the art is created, but also supporting people in any capacity is great. So that's a way with the Red Stag. We're going to play once a month is to nourish our musicality. We're doing covers, which we never do with Orange Goodness,
yeah,
and we're exploring on the fly. And so
ooh,
that's really cool for cultivation, just because we
yeah.
don't rehearse that much, and so we call it a paid rehearsal, but with good intent of entertaining and trying to do some good art. So
we
yeah,
we don't rehearse much either, and I,
yeah,
I hate to admit it because like I always harp on my students to practice more when
yeah.
Haley and I never practice. I'm
But
crashing at her place right now, and we still haven't practiced.
okay, but let me defend you. Let me defend you. You have put your 10,000 hours in, so now you are muscle memory. So it's like you're not going to do a crappy show. You put your 10,000 hours in. So,
Right, right. But I
but
I I, I will say I like what you're doing with like keeping it open for improvisation because I
yes,
I do like pushing the muscle memory a little bit so you can't feel your feet touching the bottom anymore.
yeah,
And sometimes it can bomb, but I kind of like that like tension of
yeah,
just like where are we going? Where it's a high wire act, and sometimes it's great, and
yeah,
sometimes it's always a passing grade. I'm not going to say it's a disaster. It's always a passing
right,
grade, but
yeah,
sometimes it's an A plus.
yeah,
Sometimes it's like it's a respectable
yeah.
B minus, maybe
I,
a C plus.
I've so infatuated during the pandemic of following so many comedy podcasts, which basically kept my
Mm,
spirit alive
yeah,
and still do. And I'm just following the model. Now, it is an old world model of, like you said,
it
building
really
yourself
is. It
to
really is.
something and taking risks and doing so, but the life of a stand up is, yeah, so you just play the theater, but you go back to the club to work, or
Yep,
whether you're Chris Rock or whoever.
it's
Um,
true.
and
Yeah,
I love that model that we're talking about. And I think that's just being an artist that, if
yeah,
it's different if you're just a pure entertainer, and no offense to that,
yes.
but,
Nothing wrong with that. Yeah,
nothing wrong with that. But if you have the combo, you're always trying to get
yeah,
new things and trying to improve and all that kind of stuff. So,
yeah, yeah. I love that because I've always dug into stand-up comedies. The podcast then just because the way they talk about process is fascinating because I feel a weird kinship with a lot of stand-up comics, because I kind of tour like a road comic. Like these days, I don't like, oh, I'm on the road for 6 months. It's like
Yeah.
I'm a weekend warrior. I'm gonna go
That's
to a
what they do.
town,
Right.
do two
Right.
or three
Right.
gigs, come back, or go to like do a one-off and then come back, and
Yeah.
then you're back. And sometimes you're at the theater, and sometimes you're at the big festival, and
Yeah.
sometimes you're at a tiny hole in the wall place with just
Yeah.
15 folks, and the 15 folks who are there, they're loving it, but
Yeah.
it's 15 folks,
Yeah.
and but it's all part of that process. And like with a lot of other art, you don't see the failed attempts. You just see this finished product,
Right.
and
The
it's like,
gallery opening is the gallery opening.
yeah, you see
Yeah.
the highlights, not the real thing. And I think it can be discouraging because that's not real. Like even the professionals are like sitting there, like
Yeah.
agonizing, going like, I should quit. I'm the worst.
Yeah.
Why did I start this? This is, and then you get to see the end result. You don't get to see that. But
Right.
with comics, they're so honest about like
Absolutely.
the pitfalls and the triumphs. And
Fearless people. Fearless
yeah,
people.
you gotta be.
Like I just rewrote 2 verses of 2 new songs last
cool.
night.
Yeah.
And so I don't know how it's going to go tonight. I'm going to do my
I
best.
Yeah,
But it has
that's
to
all you
happen.
can.
So had to
Yeah.
improve the songs, and we kind of know them, and
Yeah.
we got to play it. We got to do it, man.
You gotta, and I think it's important. I think like harkening back to vaudeville, there's just kind of something important to like, yeah, you have the thing and the piece of art, but
Right.
like you gotta have your 10 minutes, kid. Where's your tight 10? Like
Right.
there's also that aspect of it.
Right.
And I kind of don't want it to go away. I kind of like the feeling of like, oh, we're live.
Right.
And it's fun.
Don't want to lose our edge, man. It's all
yeah,
about keeping the edge.
Speaking of being live, we are live here on KFAI. I'm talking with Mike Michael of the Orange Goodness. This is Desert Islands. This is the show where I make mixtapes based on the 10 records my guest would bring to a desert island. Today, I'm making one for the Orange Goodness. So up next, we're going to have some Pretenders. We got some Apollo Sunshine. And yeah, we got a little bit of Bob Log in there too. Just because if you don't know who he is, you gotta check this guy out. He's something else. But first, we have this.
KFAI is proud to present Joe Rainey.
I sometimes am terrible at the underwriting cards. So like right now, I got about like 3 of them piled up that they just got to roll. Because we are actually like. We got about like 15 minutes left. It's like I was like, oh, whoa, we're already like doing an hour, so I gotta get this through.
Love it.
But yeah, probably. Let's see, how many of these things do we got? That's 30 seconds. That's okay. It's not too much time actually. Yeah. Okay. Probably 2 more sets of music. Hopefully 2 talk breaks, definitely 1. But we also kind of have the video thing. I guess the only problem with the video thing is like, yes, it's always there, but if you're plugging something urgent, I've noticed sometimes people find these videos like after the fact, and like so I get if you have anything you want to discuss, maybe save it for like the talk break portion.
Okay.
And we can kind of chat about whatever, but we can also chat about it here if we run out of time. It doesn't,
okay.
Whatever's easy.
Cool. Thank you.
But then
be healthy, be you.
Okay, there we go. Did you ever see this band when they were around? Because I never got a chance. I always thought that it's like I think they're from Vermont or something.
I didn't.
But
no, I didn't.
It's like a. I think they were Goddard kids, if I'm not mistaken. But I could be, just because maybe that's like the only music school in Vermont I actually know.
Right.
Good old Trey Anastasio. That's
right.
coming out of Goddard.
Right.
I go back and forth on there's something about the jam scene that I can't quit because I was raised by deadheads.
I didn't know that.
But there is a lot about the jam scene. If they had lapels, I kind of want to like grab them by and be like, just okay, just try something differently. Like, and I've always kind of been a little too punk for the hippies and a little too hippie for the punks, you know.
I'm in between too.
Yeah. So it's like, but I think the hippies could learn from punk culture, like of just like kind of having a concise statement that's sincere and you're just ready to deliver. But I think the punks could learn a little bit from like, look, you know, chaos is going to happen. Embrace it a little bit, but also taper culture and like the sharing thing. Like, honestly, I think the scene that does it better of combining the two attitudes is hip hop, of just like just being open to like the cipher. And it's just like, no, sometimes we just got to freestyle, but also sometimes you better have it like there can't be any fat in that song.
Right.
Like you better, you know, like you better have your words ready. That beat better be sick like that, you know. So it's like, but like also like the, you know, people like the fans make bootlegs and they just want to, it's like, no, like you gotta hear this. You gotta hear this stuff.
Right.
And it's like, so it's like, there's like the sharing culture, but there's also like the like bring the heart and like the punk rock, like, no, we got something to say.
Right.
But there's also that spirit of like improvisation that I've always like wanted like the punks to embrace from the hippie side, but I've also wanted like the thoughtfulness and the sincerity and the creativity to be embraced. Like, cause I feel like the hippies are like, nah, man, that's the death of creativity. And I'm just like, listen to Kendrick Lamar. You think that guy is coming in half cocked? No, he's
Yeah.
like it can be done, folks.
Right.
It can be done.
No, the best response, even back in my weird or art rock days, I was surprisingly embraced by the jam band culture, and I just found it heartwarming. I was like,
yeah,
oh, this is so much more open than so many scenes I've been in, you know.
Yeah,
no, I felt really positive, you know.
The audiences are good. I think it's just susceptible to any other scene. Like every scene falls into that thing where it's just like, well, that's just not that's not how we've always done it. We do it this way, you know. And I think there is like a bit of a like, yeah, but there's all these new bands, which is like the torch hasn't been passed yet. It's like, what are you talking about? There's all these, the torch has not been passed yet. Yeah. And it's like, there's also a little bit of that. But it is a scene that if you're good, they'll welcome you. Yeah. Like if you got something cool to share, they will be about it. And that's why I can't quit it, because I was raised in it. And I think part of it is just like kind of rebelling against it, where it's just like, all right, these guys again. And it's like, but there is like I can't quit it because I am it, you know, like it's that is in there.
You know, we love it because we do quote unquote pop rock tunes, but when we play live, we always improvise a lot.
Yes.
So
and they dig that.
Yeah, man. So it's like, I know, I just feel like the land of the misfit toys sometimes, you know, but
I get that.
I really do, but you just got to be you, right? Just got to keep plugging.
It's like I think with so many options, it's better to be unique than, because like if you're gonna play the game where it's like, oh, we gotta chase the trends, it's like, yeah, you'll get some listeners, but at first, like the machine just grinds you up to a pulp. And it's just like, hey, give us more of that. I'm on to this. We're like, we'll find someone else. What? I just got here. We'll find someone else. Like it's like, and when you chase that stuff, it's just like you're chasing it, and then you're like draining your own battery. But also, bills got to get paid. So it's like no shame in doing stuff that like I'm not. But like you, like to use a term you used earlier, like you do have to be able to go back to the well. Like you can't run dry.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you want to quit the whole game, and that's
Right.
I don't think that should be an option either.
Well, I look at it as some of our heroes that are of this huge echelon of
Yeah.
notoriety all play corporate gigs.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, undercover. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's like I got braces for my kid, or it's like literally thinking, so.
Well, I like
gotta
Stephen
survive
Malcolm
too.
in his latest interview, and they were like, "So why reunite Pavement now?" And it's just like, well, I mean, it's not like we've forgotten that we love Pavement, but let's also be real. Like, unless your surname is Jagger or Richards, like you have money problems like everyone else.
Absolutely,
and
man.
I respect that. Like, it's like he's not saying he's selling out, but he's just like, well, if there's a demand for people to see Pavement again, we're gonna go.
Hey, man, Sex Pistols reunited for money. It's like they did that,
It's
okay.
like it's like well, it's also. I think the term sellout, like, it's kind of like Gen X, like they were like, we're not gonna sell out, but like now, like the country sold itself out, so now that term means nothing, and now people associate it with like, you used to be poor, now you're not. You're a traitor. It's just like, I just want to eat and feed my kids. No, you're not authentic. It's like,
and then you go, hey man, we have to like make content every day, and that costs money. So it's like, how about we need to reinvest in our business, and there's no recouping on recorded music. So it's like, I got to take the corporate gig.
And that's also why, like, a lot of my friends have been rolling their eyes about how I've been treating COVID, because I'm just like, listen, look. One, there is the health aspect, and I know a lot of a few of my friends have disabilities, a few of my friends are immunocompromised, a few of my friends work with kids. I work with kids, but also I work in the industry, and I know a lot of those guys who it's just like, look, that it's like Chris Farley in Wayne's World 2. It's just like, why are you still doing this? Because I got no place to go. Like, this is what I do. This is who I am. But like, it was putting food on the family dinner table for decades. It wasn't like them like struggling to make it. They earned their income, and like, unlike other jobs, like you don't just get PTO.
Totally.
You don't reschedule. Sometimes the promoter will be like, "Oh, you got running? Oh, drag." We're like, "I'd love to play again later." We're like, "Yeah, I bet you would."
Right.
Like that gig doesn't always get rescheduled, and it's not like a conspiracy to take away your freedom. It's like, I'm just thinking about other people. Heaven forbid I think about someone other than myself. And don't get me wrong, I think about myself a lot. Like, I'm not trying to be up here like, yes, I'm the scene's Lorax. I speak for the trees. It's like, no, like, I definitely am constantly going like, did I come off like a jerk back then? Was that, I shouldn't have said that. Or like, I'm always, where it's just like, or you have like a little fret buzz on a riff, and it's just like, well, that's awful. That's the worst thing I've ever done. Like, you get like way too like.
Right.
Everyone has that. I'm not saying I'm like, but like, when you realize how hard it is out there, and like when you've worked those gigs and you see people who like blazed a trail for themselves and got it done, like, that's, like, you can't
knock that, man.
You can't, no. And to ask people like that to just be like, well, just learn to code. It's just like, these people are like they learned to trade.
Well, it's also forming a more empathetic culture.
Yeah, more empathy. Like, it's just like, because that can happen to you. We can have, like, quantum computing might happen, and everything we've done in computers would be null and void, and all the people who learned to code are out of work because the code doesn't mean anything anymore. That can happen.
Right.
That can happen to any industry. So it's just like, just chill. We're gonna be back on the air here.
Sweet.
Okay. The Pretenders.
Yes.
Are a great band. I keep forgetting how great they are. I had some Bob Log in the middle of that set. Log Bomb. He's coming to town, Turf Club, this Sunday, June 12th. We also had Apollo Sunshine at the top of that set. If you're just tuning in, this is Desert Islands, the show where I make mixtapes based on my guests, 10 records they bring to a desert island. And today I made one for the Orange Goodness. The Orange Goodness is playing with me and Mike Munson at Palmer's tonight. We're celebrating 200 episodes of this show, which is still weird to say, because that implies time I wasn't paying attention to. I'm just like, has it really been that many? So this is so cool. Mike, thank you for doing this. Thank you for coming back.
Always my pleasure.
Really appreciate it.
Yeah, we appreciate your support too and your artistry. So
thank you. Thank you. But if listeners like what they heard, where can they hear it again? Where's the best place for them to? Because I know streaming services are a controversial subject for some people. Like, is there a place you prefer folks try to engage with you?
Absolutely. I think our in terms of social media, Instagram is our most receptive platform. And then the orangegoodness.com, Luke Anderson, and I made that site as artist friendly and as viewer friendly as possible. So all the songs, all the videos are on that website. It's very easy to navigate to. So the orangegoodness.com, Instagram are kind of where we do most of our stuff.
Sure. So if you're just tuning in, we are playing tonight at Palmer's, and I know you're probably waiting for Democracy Now! Thank you so much for coming back on Desert Islands. I will see you tonight at the show.
Yes.
Y'all are at 8 p.m. Doors are at 7. Because I was not going to kick out the Hippie Nanny. The Hippie Nanny's still on, folks. It's before the show. Come bring your instrument and jam and just stay afterwards and hang, because I think you're going to dig it. But yeah, I don't want to bump any traditions. I want to accommodate that. Next week, I'm going to be talking with Doug Collins, and he's got some new music out. Stay tuned for Democracy Now! Here is The Police here on KFAI. Woo! Nice. Okay. All right. Now I gotta type the Police. I thank you so much for coming back.
Dude, I'm sorry I didn't get you more songs. I totally flaked.
No worries. I mean, like I still. Oh, by the way, folks, if you're still watching, and I can see some of you are, there are 3 songs we're not gonna have time to play on this mixtape. Yeah. I'll link the link where you can get at that on Spotify. If Spotify is a dirty word, sorry, but you can go on kfai.org and see what the playlist was, and you can you can assemble it in your own streaming service du jour. Although I think I gotta step up my game with that. I think I've heard you can transfer playlists to Tidal and stuff, and it's just
wow.
It's like maybe I should, if that's a service, maybe I should just. I don't have the other services. I got Spotify years ago for teaching, and then I'm just like, oh, I got to get rid of this, and then I'm just like, everything's on it.
I know.
I got everything on.
We got to follow human behavior and consumption, and that's just where it's at right now.
It's like, and before people are like, they're more ethical streaming. It's like none of them are on the level. Let's be real. None of them are on the level. Yeah. And it's like devil, but I have considered switching to Tidal. But if I switch to Tidal, I don't want people who have Spotify to be like, well, where's the thing? People follow the playlists.
Apple, iTunes was the hot thing for so many years, and that went away. So Spotify will leave.
Spotify
at some point.
Oh, it's definitely going to leave. I don't know what is going to replace it. Because here's the thing, we saw this with MySpace.
Yeah.
Sometimes a good idea just goes away on its own, but I think in this case, we got to see something it's got to be a TikTok thing. Like it's got to be like, okay, yes, we've seen this before, but this one is with a twist.
Yeah.
And I think that's what we're waiting for. It's like there's going to be another one, but like it's like, okay, it does everything all the other ones do, and
Right.
then it integrates some other something.
I still haven't figured out TikTok without being a cheese ball, and I just can't do it. You know?
I'm kind of afraid of TikTok, to be honest. Like not like how I would be received of like, I feel like I already have weaponized ADHD, and that thing is designed to like get you addicted, man.
Oh yeah.
And it's just like, so I would be like, all right, I got to create more content right after I watch. Oh, that's cool. This is kind of cool too. Oh man, that's a cool guitar. Like, and then and then you get warped. But I'm terrified of it. But I've had friends who are they're killing it on it. And
Malman's killing it.
Yeah,
I have a
Dirty's
friend, Evan Bacher, who's killing it as a great musician, but turned into an astrologer, which I didn't know.
That's a huge thing right now. And it's like I had a friend. She's an awesome producer, but like she just started talking about like the clothes she was making, and that took off. And then I have another friend, like she was like trying to like push her art, and then she just started doing makeup tutorials, and now she's killing it. And it's just like now it's all people want her to do.
I gotta get you hooked up with those Flavor World dudes in St. Paul.
Oh yeah, I've heard of those cats. Like,
because Drew, who runs the music series, the video series, is a tufter or rug tufting.
Whoa.
And so that's how that channel started. Like he's a visual artist, but it started doing demonstrations on tufting, which I didn't know what tufting was.
Yeah, I don't.
So it's making carpets with that tufting machine, the gun. And he's a fascinating, creative young man, and
that's super cool. That's wild.
Yeah, so that took off. So you never know, but
I that's kind of what I like about the internet. Like, and I hope I never become like that old person yelling at the cloud, because like I the second, like, you got to stay curious, because that's when like the anger. Like it's like if you close everything in, it's like, yeah, you're shutting yourself out to a lot of pain, but you're also trapping in all your negative stuff, and it has nowhere to go. So it's just like I hope I can stay curious, a lifelong curiosity, because that is the cool thing about the internet, where it's just like, yeah, TikTok has a lot of stuff where it's just like blatant lies that make people like Rush Limbaugh on steroids.
Yeah.
But it also has like dudes who are just like my friend. I met this guy on tour, and he has like a DIY. Like he's a professor at U of M in Michigan, and his hobby's making tiny houses.
Wow.
And he's blown up on TikTok because he's just like talking about his tiny house, and like he owns a few buildings, and he just throws music festivals in them.
Well,
like
it's like Malman doing the history of a certain song or an artist, and he's a really good historian.
I don't think Malman gets the credit for that stuff, because I think like people give him credit for being like the showman and the humorist.
Yeah.
But I think because he's funny, people forget like he's got depth. Like
got a lot of knowledge, man.
He knows his stuff. Like he really does. And like he's very insightful and very human about it too. Like he's a really interesting cat, and he is funny, and we should give him due for that. That's all I'm saying, is just like, give the guy a chance in that. Like he knows his stuff, and he's got great content. I hate using that word, but like how do you describe, because it's not art, like like some of the things like are kind of like YouTube videos where it's just like, hey, I'm going to talk about this thing. And it's just like, but it's just like, I also don't want to call like Big Thief's next album like, oh, they put out some great content this year.
Right.
It's like where does the line? There is a Venn diagram where it's just like art is content, but like not all content is art, and not all
Right.
art should be just like treated like
Right.
a Slim Jim, where it's just
Yes.
like, oh, let's go into 7-Eleven, pick up some songs, and
Yeah, it's like if you say I'm in a rock band, or I have a small business, or I have a brand. It's like, when do you say the word brand? Because essentially it is. I mean, that's not wrong.
I think it's like music. It's like industry code switching. Like when you're with the musicians, where it's just like, oh, we're working this, but when you're with the suits, it's just like, the branding and like the synergy.
Yeah.
Like using like
different
like,
that's a really good way. Yeah, different languages for
different languages, because it's like. It's because I also that there is like an empathy in like being accommodating to like how would I explain something to an individual I don't understand? Like what what do they grok to? I guess.
Absolutely.
Because like sometimes you could say something where it's like, but that came from the heart and it was my truth, and like they're listening to it because it's not that they're against it. It's just like they don't understand it. Much like I don't understand the suits sometimes.
Yeah, the managerial speak. I have no.
Yeah.
Artists would say just be more conscientious, but managerial speak in the TED Talks would be a 30-minute lecture on.
Yes.
The language would be really robust and intense, but the whole meaning of the performance was like, just be more conscientious in the workplace.
Yes.
If there's a different language to describe that versus you and I hanging would just be, man,
just be nice, It's like the like we can get away with the bumper sticker song of like, it's just like, don't be a dick. But you can't like, if I said that at a corporate meeting, they'd be like, loose cannon. It's like, let's watch the language.
HR baby.
It's just like, what? I just like because I said dick. All right, quit being a dick. All right, with that, I think I gotta let you go, because I got to put the mask on and let the next host
Love
in and do
I
that.
will see you tonight.
I'll see you tonight. It's gonna be great.
Thank you again for all your promo of the orange goodness, man.
Thank you for coming and doing this. I'm really looking forward to this one.
All right.
Stay safe.
Let's rock tonight, man.
Yeah, it'll be great.
It'll
be great.
Peace.
Good to see you.
Thank you.